Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you might be joining us from in the world today. My name is Meg Alexander, and as always, I am honored and excited to get to host another Power to Fly virtual event. So for today's chat and learn, we're going to be talking to some of the amazing people from Expedia Group about thriving together, unlocking growth through community at Expedia Group. Now, I hope y'all are just as excited as I am to get started, but we'll go over some real quick housekeeping stuff first, just to make sure we're all on the same page. This information will be especially important if if this might be your first event with Power to Fly. And if that's the case, then hi, welcome. We're so happy to meet you. Now, the love is no less real for my frequent flyers. Thank you to everyone who joins us for each and every one of these events. I am oh so happy to see all of your familiar faces and names and avatars in the chat. So thank you all so much for that. All right, now, in case you are used to this chat and learn format, or if you come out and hang out with us a lot, you'll know that Ria is usually my co-pilot on this. Unfortunately, I am flying solo today. So the links and stuff that you're used to getting very quickly with Ria are going to come. They're just going to come a little bit slower. So thank y'all for bearing with me today. All right, now, the first thing you should know about Power to Fly events is participation. We want to make sure that y'all are as able to participate in today's event as you want. You can do that in a couple different ways. You are always welcome, like I said, to turn on your cameras if you want to share your smiling, maskless faces with us safely. But there is no need to be Instagram perfect, y'all. Yes, they are meant to be in the room. Why aren't they in the room? I'm so sorry, y'all. Hold on. I thought I let them in here. Oh, that's participants. Come on. There we go. I'm sorry, y'all. Apologies for that. All right. Okay, so as we get our people joined in, I see we've got our waiting room is starting to fill up. So thank you all so much for joining us today. All right, now as we get going, I want to encourage y'all to participate in any way you would like. You are always welcome to share your smiling, maskless faces with us safely. You're welcome to turn your cameras on if you'd like, but there is no need to be Instagram perfect, y'all. Just because I got real fancy and actually washed my hair today does not mean that you can't come here with your 3-day messy buns, your bathrobes, your corner office, your furry coworkers, whatever it is you got going. We would love to see you and meet you where you are today. Now, as we go through, you're also welcome to chime in the chat. So I see we've got a bunch of people starting to chime in as well there. So thank you all so much for joining us. Now, bear with me as we go. Ria is usually my co-pilot, and unfortunately, she is off today enjoying her vacation. So I'll be on the link duty, but a little bit slow to get those in. So just bear with me as we go. Now, as we go through and we get our recording going, we are live streaming. Hi, YouTube. We're live streaming, and we're also going to be sharing the recording on YouTube later today. Now, one thing that I want everybody to know about today's event is since that we're recording, it means that you don't have to take notes, okay? You get to sit back, relax, enjoy the conversations that I'm about to have with the Expedia Group family. And don't worry if you missed a resource somebody listed or a link or something. Don't sweat it, okay? Now, let's say that the team says something so unbelievably mind-blowing that like you cannot wait to share this recording with a friend or a relative or a coworker. You do not have to. So in about 4 to 5 business days, Power to Fly is going to email everybody who registered for today's event, whether you joined or not, with a link where you can rewatch the recording from today's session. Now, if you don't want to wait until then, you can always check out our YouTube channel. Like I said, we're live streaming there right now. But if you want to check out the YouTube channel, it's awesome. I very much recommend it. There's a bunch of some of our greatest hits are stored there. But if you want the access to kind of the full roster, all of our like mother load of resources, that's going to be found on the website. So whether you check us out on YouTube, I also recommend you check us out on our main page. So that way you can take advantage of all of these great free resources that we want to put in the hands of all of you and as many people as possible. All right, now I will also encourage y'all to check out the chat. You're welcome to dive in there and keep things hopping for us. In fact, I'm going to encourage all y'all to dive in that chat and let us know where you're joining us from. I'm coming to you from Toledo, Ohio. This is land that belonged to the Fox, Kickapoo, and Potawatomi tribes in my area. So if you'd like to, please feel free to share with us where you're joining from and if you know whose land you're on. All right, now before we move in and I introduce you to our speakers, I do just really quickly want to flash our code of conduct right here. It looks like a ton of scary stuff, and basically what it means is just don't be a jerk, okay? If you operate from a place of kindness and respect, it's pretty hard to go wrong from there. If you have questions on this or would like to know any more info, please feel free to DM me. You can find my name, Meg Alexander, in the drop-down menu in your group chat. Oh, y'all, let's see here. Y'all are chiming in like crazy. Okay, so we've got Stockton, New Jersey, Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago, Seattle, Dallas, Orlando, Austin, Lenape Land, Puyallup, Washington, Atlanta, Vancouver, Sammamish. That makes sense. Oh my gosh, y'all, all over the place. Greeley, Colorado, Kitchener, Ontario, Argentina. Thank you so much for joining us. I love this, y'all. This is one of my favorite parts, seeing how many people all around the world are learning and growing at the same time. All right, now, obviously, Expedia Group is the host of today's chat, and I think most likely none of you needs any more information. Expedia Group is very well known. It has a lot of name brand recognition. But I do just want to highlight here that if anything that we talk about today piques your interest and you are curious or want to learn more about Expedia Group, I very much encourage you to check out the links to their company page. Again, I'll be sending these as we go once I start questions. Apologies, y'all. But what I recommend is you check out their company page on powertofly.com. Now, this is what you're looking at on the screen. That's what their company page looks like. And while we are there, I very much recommend that you check out, obviously, the jobs tab. That's where most people go to see what's open and want to apply. But there's some other really great features on this page that you can utilize in your job search. So if you are curious about that at all, stick around to the end of the event and I'll let you know some ways you can utilize this page as well as Power to Fly to help you in your job search. All right, now, first up from Expedia Group, we're going to talk to Alex Chong, who's a business programs manager. Alex, what else would you like our audience members to know about you today?
Hey, thanks, Meg. Well, welcome everyone. Really appreciate having the platform to be able to speak here. I'm based out of Seattle, Washington, living in Snohomish. And just a little bit about me. I have a family of four. My wife and I have been married almost 9 years. Two kids, 5-year-old, 2-year-old, Jaden and Claire. And again, I've been in the healthcare space for about a decade and recently made the transition to Expedia last year. So I am coming up quickly on my 1-year anniversary. Pretty exciting here. So not that I'm counting, it's 12 days, 5 hours, and 28 minutes. Just kidding. I really don't know what it is, but very excited to be with everyone. Apparently, I'm supposed to share a fun fact about me. I'm not a fun person. So I'm working on my dad jokes. So maybe I'll drop one in later today, but if you got some good dad jokes, let me know. Thanks.
What does a nosy pepper do, Alex?
Does it get salty? I don't know. Goes with salt? I don't know.
No, a nosy pepper gets jalapeno business. You're welcome. You're welcome. This is what I do for you people. I try to
Love
entertain
it. I love it. If you can
the best.
cater it to a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, I think we'll hit the mark. And then my wife will never laugh at my jokes, so that's a never winning battle. But thanks, Meg.
I love it. Oh, y'all, if you've got dad jokes, send them in the chat. I want to see these. All right, send them in. Okay, joining Alex on stage, we also have the inimitable Melanie Suggs. Melanie, what would you like our audience members to know about you today?
Uh, so happy to see everyone in the chat and participating already. I am hailing from Dallas, Texas. I have been with Expedia Group for 2 years and 7 months, and we are counting down to that 3-year mark so we can get that upgrade and those extra benefits. All right, a little extra.
Heck yeah.
Know what I'm talking about. So, fun fact about me is when I do get that PTO, I tend to go on cruises with my amazing family. And so for the last 3 years, we have made time to get to Cozumel, Mexico. Let's do 4 years, okay? I'm gonna try and keep the run going. And why do they call them seagulls?
I know this one.
Yes. What say it?
Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels.
Bagels.
Alex, oh God, Alex is a liar. Not fun. Come on. All right. Now, joining Melanie and Alex on stage, we have the fabulous Tashana Lopez. Tashana, what should our audience members know about you?
Hi, everyone. First of all, I just really want to say thank you so much to Power to Fly for creating a space for us to even have this platform to talk about our experiences, help fellow vets transition. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I'm based in Dallas, Texas with Melanie. And fun fact, well, actually, this isn't my fun fact, but a fun fact is today is my 3-year anniversary with Expedia Group.
Oh,
Yeah,
if I'd known that, I would have pulled out the confetti. Yay, Tashana!
do the jazz hands for confetti, but yes. And then my actual fun fact is I do a lot of photography on the side. So, of course, I'm a big traveler and I just love to photograph architecture and nature whenever I do travel.
Very cool. I love it. Where's the last place you traveled that you were like particularly proud of a picture you took? Something that really makes you think of that trip.
Ooh, the last place I traveled, it was Medellin, Colombia. And
Ooh,
they had like a festival going on. It was a solo trip. It was my first like actual solo trip. And I took a picture of, I don't even know, they had like a costume on, and it was just like such a vibrant, lively picture. And I felt like it embodied how I felt about my experience in Colombia.
that's wonderful. I absolutely love that. I treasure my pictures from my vacation, even though they live on my phone and I do nothing with them. But I will scroll back through and think like, oh yeah, I actually went to France once. Holy cow. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you. All right, y'all. We've got about 45 minutes left in today's session. So let's get started here. Stop share. There we go. All right, so we are going to get all of our panelists brought up on stage here, and then we're going to get started. One thing I want to highlight for all of you today, for everybody that came here and joined us live, we want to make sure we reward you for the time that you're spending with Power to Fly and Expedia Group. So if you have questions, please feel free to send them in. I've got the chat box open. I'll actually tell you what, I'll activate the Q&A box as well. And that way we can make sure that y'all have options to, send in questions wherever you'd like. So please feel free to utilize that Q&A bucket, send in any questions you'd like. And if you see questions hit that bucket, you're more than welcome to vote, upvote any of the questions that you are also interested in learning today. All right, so to get us started, I want to get us started in this idea of community involvement as well as personal growth. So I want to talk about how being part of veteran and inclusion business groups has shaped your personal development and your career path. Tashana, do you want to start us on this?
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was responding to some people in the chat. So can you repeat the question?
No worries. This question wants to know, how has being a part of veteran and inclusion business groups shaped your personal development as well as your career path? Apologies for jumping on you. Tashana actually hosted or joined us for at least one veterans uh, job fair that I remember. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I would say being a part of our Vets IBG and really all of our IBGs have been invaluable to my career and my professional development. Being a part of a community is something that's important. And I think a lot of veterans feel the same way about that, because when we're in the military, we get that sense of camaraderie, we have that community, and these people, like, basically live with them. It's like 24/7 with the same people. So something that I was really sad about when I transitioned out of the military was thinking that I was going to lose that. But being at Expedia Group and being a part of the veteran community, I've been able to gain that back. And then there are people in there that are mentors, so you can go to people for different advice. There are certain things that I'm still learning being in the corporate space and trying to just not like be military minded about things. It's great to be able to just lean on some of your peers that have been around a little bit longer and can help you transition and think through certain things. So yeah, it's been great being a part of a community, and it's definitely helped me professionally grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when my husband left the military, he was in the Army for 6 years, and it was very, very different. Civilian life was very different than what he had gotten used to. And so I think you're right. It very much helps to not just have a community built in, but like have a community that is prioritized. It's not just an offshoot, it's like an actual like goal for, as part of the company as well. I think that's great. Okay. Would anyone else like to touch on this before we keep moving to our next question?
Yeah, I can add a little more color to this as well. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. And for those that recently joined, my name is Alex. And for me, it has personally shaped my experiences, both in previous to joining EG, actually. I was part of a DEIB group in my healthcare space. But also here coming in, it was a nice transition to know that Expedia provides different IBG groups to be a part of. And then personally, I wanted to do a quick shout out to Kevin Keys and Derek, where they've been really close partners with me, where I've been able to just openly share about my emotions, feelings, how to change into a different industry coming from healthcare to a travel and tech industry. And the word I want to talk about is like the psychological safety. We talk about it often, but for many folks, we talk about it as like a standard or some sort of thing we need to hit, but we got to acknowledge that it's not a static standard. It's dynamic. It's individually tailored to different foundations, and it enables people to be who they are and want to be at work and be their whole selves. And so I think a lot for advocating the psychological safety means that we recognize the individual needs and vulnerabilities are very unique to their people, each people, and creating a culture where we feel safe to voice our ideas, ask questions, admit mistakes without fear or judgment. It's really huge. And I think I saw a question in there, but honestly, doing that adaptive approach really unlocks true fostering of an environment where it encourages, believe, really belonging, trust, diversity, courage, and all this feeds into a safe space where it can innovate ideas, innovate yourself personally. And that's why I called out to Kevin and Derek too, because they've been great partners for me to kind of share my honest feelings. And let's be real, some of it does get frustrating. Some of it where I feel like I can do more, or why is this different? And there's people around in the community that can help translate that, people that can help walk the path with you, walk the path before you, or you never know, you may be mentoring someone as you're learning along the way as well. And so, and as second part to that question that was in the chat as well, Expedia promotes what's called gigs. There's project gigs and rotational gigs. So as you come into the role in Expedia and you're looking to change and lateral into a different, let's say from marketing to finance or whatever aspects, there's opportunities where you can lateral into different positions and apply internally for those gig positions. And so thanks again for allowing me to share here quickly on that question.
No, I think that's excellent and gives us a really good peek into how this all kind of comes together. Okay, let's move to our next question here. What impact has community involvement had on your personal growth, and how has it helped you to overcome challenges? Does anybody want to speak to what challenges they might have faced? Melanie, you want to go?
Thank you all for having that question, because here at Expedia, we do have a lot of amazing values, and one of those is to choose fearlessly. And that connects directly to personal courage that kind of comes from the veteran background. So I have had some challenges come my way, and I had to open up and be vulnerable with amazing allies and other inclusion groups, where those leaders were able to help me navigate some things that were truly, I was ready to take a risk and bet on myself. And those investments are things that I'm going to be able to pass on to others. And there's no other way I would have been able to navigate those things by myself. Mm-hmm. So I took some difficult conversations and really cultivated a great story for these higher level leaders to really understand my struggle. And it made an impact, not only for me, but for everyone else that's going to come behind me. And that's how we're building our culture here.
Yeah, that's one of the things I absolutely love to hear, is not just what are we doing for the people that are here now, but it's every bit as important to be the first person in that room as it is to make sure you're not the last. So I absolutely love the pay it forward mentality. I love this idea of like making sure that while you are benefiting from this, other people are too. I think that's wonderful. Thank you, Melanie. All right, let's go into a different area of focus here. I want to talk about some of the ways y'all have used your skills to uplift communities and empower others. Obviously, this is a very big question to start with, but let's see here. Tashana, do you want to start us?
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if anyone really had the chance to read the introduction, but I'm a talent inclusion partner. So I work in talent acquisition, also known as recruiting. So of course, my skill is usually finding talent, bringing talent to Expedia Group. And actually, we're here at the Afrotech conference in Houston right now, looking for great talent. Um, But one thing that I'm extremely proud of that I was a part of, and I'm proud of Expedia Group for even welcoming it, is starting a hiring our heroes program at the company. And for anyone that's not familiar with hiring our heroes, it is a 12-week program. It's like a cohort fellowship type of style where transitioning service members can come into the company and really get exposure into the fields that they are interested in transitioning into once they leave the military. So you get that networking opportunity, you get to have hands-on experience in a company that you may be interested in working for in the future. And then you also get more experience to put onto your resume as me, along with some of my other teammates on the talent acquisition team that are also veterans or allies, we're really passionate about bringing this opportunity to Expedia Group so that we can boost our veteran hiring, and we can also help our transitioning members be able to get those skills that they feel like they need to be able to survive in the workforce.
Mhm. Excellent, excellent. Melanie, do you want to weigh in? Good.
Yes, I would. As she said, we're here at Afrotech right now, but I also want to lean into some of the things that are at our fingertips internally. So there are so many mentorship programs where you can show up for others, or you can lean into the other leaders here to learn more about yourself. And then we also have amazing feedback where you can ask for feedback, you can give feedback, and then you can take that and kind of grow those skills that you're already strong or you need more help with. So we do really champion sharing with peers and leaders. So you're not just getting it from one side.
I like that. I think that's great. Actually, so that kind of meshes really nicely with the question that was asked in the chat. I want to make sure we got visibility on it for anybody that's treating this like a podcast or visually impaired people. So the question in the chat was, we often hear about the importance of community, yet many companies fail to create spaces where they actively listen to or engage with their employees. How does Expedia tap and offer a space to truly gain innovation and feedback from its own employees? And I saw we got this answered in the chat, so that's awesome. But I just want to highlight the answer for anybody who didn't get to talk about it. The answer mentions a couple different groups in particular. Vets is one of them. With each of these groups, the communities are encouraged to share their challenges. With this sharing, it gives the community insight into potential challenges for not just the individual, but the community as a whole. This can then be brought to the executive sponsor or the president of the group to advocate for them at the higher or entire EG level. So I think that's really great. Have there been aspects of the ERGs that have been more about supporting the people internally as opposed to that outward educating?
Yeah, I'm happy to take this. So in our IBGs, we call them IBGs here, Inclusion Business Groups, but same thing as ERGs. We do have sessions called safe spaces. And most recently we've had a few in like some of our Black ERGs, and just based on things that are going on in the world, in the community, or maybe just even in the company, they create those safe spaces for us to just come together as a community, speak about our thoughts, get it out, hear other opinions. And yeah, it's amazing to be able to just be in a space where you know you're safe. It's not going to get out. No one's going to judge you for your thoughts, and you can bounce your ideas off other people. So that's something that I love that we do internally within our IBGs.
I love that. Sounds great. Okay. Y'all, thank you for sending in all these questions. These are excellent. I'm grabbing all of them as they show up in the chat, even if they don't make it to the Q&A bucket. So thank you so much for sending those. And thank you, Kevin. Kevin's manning the chat and answering questions in there as well. So thank you so much. All right, next question. This person had asked, I thought this is a really good one. How have you translated your experiences in the veteran or inclusion groups to add value in your professional role at Expedia Group? I really like this one because not always, not everybody has kind of a job and then a side job, and so I want to talk about how those experiences have helped within your professional role at Expedia Group. Alex, do you want to start us?
Yeah, sure, definitely. This question comes out often as I, mentor folks too, and then I'm currently still serving in the Washington Army National Guard. And a lot of folks come to me for resume advices, and we've all been there. We've rewritten our resume 150 different times, and seems like you're just throwing your resume and application out into the ether. But here's the big thing. I think for where I've developed that community and that network through the inclusion group has allowed me to translate especially some specific like military terms, or for those that are first responders or whatever field you're coming from, into very applicable skills and language and the lingo that Expedia uses. And so please take this time and opportunity while you have us here and many of those folks to connect with us on LinkedIn and other places where please reach out to so that we can help you out. And that's been crucial for me. And as you do that, that will help you not only in your resume, but if you have the opportunity to get into the interview stages, to shape your story into a way that your audience in the interview panel can understand. And that's been really helpful for me to not one that help others see the perspective and relate to my experiences and help them come to where I'm at as well. And so, yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I'm going to grab links again, but I just want to highlight for everybody, if you are interested and you're like hearing what we're talking about and you want to know more, Expedia Group is taking part in this month's virtual job fair. So I'll grab links for that, so where you guys can log in and register for that ahead of time, totally free. But while I'm doing that, let's keep moving along with this question. Hold on here. Oh, does anybody else want to talk about how their what am I trying to think of? Business group has kind of assisted within your professional role? Do you feel like it's brought that being involved with this as a extracurricular has helped you in your main role with Expedia Group?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and piggyback off of what Alex was speaking about. I've learned a lot about our technology stack because I've been involved in some other things. So what's going on with social media, if you need to be prepared for LinkedIn. So I've grown a lot of muscles that maybe I wouldn't have used in my day job. So when that update comes in and we're focused on a new product, I've already kind of set myself up for success and can, of course, assist others because I already know about Miro or this new canvas. Well, I was already using that, so I can be the subject matter expert to others. And we, again, have those safe spaces and town halls where we're very visible. So you're not looking for us. We're in your face. We're around the corner. And we're really just one separation away from the next. So I'm sure some way we'll start talking about those LinkedIn and that networking. But it's not just to make us better. That resume writing and those skills, we also volunteer in our communities. So we learn from Tashana so that we can go and help Code to College or the Two Fly Foundation so that their cohorts get better and have the support that they need. And we don't stop it there. We use Benevity to then go and give back where we can. So Expedia has a lot of focus on building personally and professionally.
I love it. Love to hear it. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, let's take a question from the Q&A bucket. Let's see here. Most recent. Okay, Carmen had a question. Question for all. What do you advise those of us coming from other industries in terms of applying for roles and also ramping up once you hopefully join? So this person's coming out of, let's see, non-hospitality, but prop tech and SaaS, so software as a service. But if you have as you've seen people come into Expedia Group from maybe non-related or non-traditional backgrounds, what do you see them do? How do they do when they come in and are trying to learn this new industry and try and ramp up their skills at the same time? I knew we were gonna do this. Tashana, you want to go? Or oh no, Melanie, go ahead.
And I'm gonna keep mine very short to give Alex some time. I came from the hospitality background. So we welcome others in my particular team that don't come from the hospitality background. So again, your internal network is going to be your strongest asset. There is somebody in your office that has worked in hospitality, and if you set a coffee chat with them, they will answer your questions directly and then be there for feedback. So if you're concerned, don't be.
Thanks, Melanie. And Carmen, thanks for the question. So I can just directly relate to this being a year in a new industry. So I came from about a decade in the healthcare space, bounced around in the Pacific Northwest area a lot. In the military, I commissioned as a medical service corps officer as well. So very medical healthcare heavy. Seems like there's not a lot of room, and seems like my corporate ladder is pretty much fixed, but that's not the case. I actually took some time to do my executive MBA program at the University of Washington Foster School of Business, and a lot through their career management and through the vets in that community as well has helped me to shape a perspective where my skill sets do matter in other industries, and I can provide a different perspective. I can, instead of giving you nice fluff answers too, here's how I like tactically went about this is literally it's a simple Excel sheet. You can ask ChatGPT what are typical interview questions. We'll have that on the first column, and then on the next couple columns, kind of write out like how would this apply if I had a finance background? How would this apply if I had a marketing background or HR background? And put yourself in that shoe or experiences and stories, and you'll be kind of surprised to see that you did kind of actually have some HR background, even though I'm heavily finance or those things. And as you do this and write this out, you start to discover yourself more too, and how much you've actually served, and like the skills and values, then the leadership potential, the leadership aspect that you have grown while being in the military or as a first responder. And so I think that's a very kind of clear-cut way that has helped me to translate it. I'll be honest with you, with my transition from healthcare to the Expedia, it was very difficult in regards to trying to convince people that healthcare relates, how military relates. It took over a year, but it's that persistence. It's that aspect of, going after it and really towards finding people that believe in you and that will help you. And trust me, I have many times where rewrite the resume, talk to many people, gotten discouraged, felt super let down, but the honest answer is you just got to keep going at a certain point, and trust me, especially in this market, there will be someone that sees the true potential in you and your benefits, and that's going to be the right timing and alignment. So best of luck with all your walks and career journeys, and happy again to speak more in detail if you're willing to reach out over LinkedIn or some other method. So thanks.
You're muted, Meg.
No, it's my only job. It's my only job to speak English and remember my mute button. All right. What advice do y'all have for people that are trying to balance professional growth with personal development through community involvement? Obviously, there's a lot of factors at play here, but if you are trying to kind of grow in multifaceted ways, what advice would you give to somebody who is trying to balance all of that, at the same time? Melanie, your face looks fabulous. I want to call on you first. No, Tashana, you go first.
I'd be happy to take it. So for me, this is actually something that I struggled with a lot when I transitioned from the military. First of all, I'm already a naturally ambitious person. I don't know if anyone here is like into zodiacs, but I'm a Capricorn, so I need everything in its place and I need it to be perfect the first time. So I definitely struggled a lot with trying to find that balance between personal development, professional development, and transparently, I still kind of struggle with it to this day. But what has been helping me is, first of all, giving myself grace. A lot of us don't do that. So give yourself grace and then really have a plan. Like sit down, put a plan in place. What do you want to gain within the next year in your professional development? What do you want to gain in your personal development? And then start to connect the dots, see if there's any intersectionality, because that could help alleviate a lot of like the stress that you're thinking, oh my goodness, I have to go do XYZ for this and then ABC for this, when in reality, you can be hitting both, you can be killing both birds with one stone. So finding the intersectionality between that and then really leaning on your network, leaning on your community to see if there's anyone already doing some of these things or have had experience in some of these things that can help you easily get access to whatever you are trying to gain. So those are really the things that have helped me. Melanie, did you want to add something?
Ditto. Everything. Capricorn, the transitional phase, everything she said. I again did have to go and ask for help to better myself. There's an action plan in place. There are goals to hit, but I also have to give myself that grace. It's not just one single connection to success. You have to figure out what success even looks like to start. So make sure that we can maybe go back to some of those things. We remember those SMART goals. Let's start there, simplify things, and then get that action going, and then go back and see where we can grow. So, but honestly, she said every single thing that I go through. So don't feel alone in that.
Yeah.
More common than you think.
I want to echo what Melanie said about figuring out what success looks like to you. The same is true of the word balance, y'all. Like balance, looking for like, oh, I need work-life balance. I need this balance. Okay, do you actually need a balance of like 12 hours spent at work and 12 hours spent at home? Or are you a person that needs maybe, depending on your week at work, you need to spend like 2 hours 2 hours of like fun time for every day you spend at work, right? So maybe that's your recharge schedule. Maybe you're one of those just insane people who I don't think actually exist that only need like 2 hours of sleep a night. Like allegedly, like Ryan Seacrest is like this. I think they're aliens. But if you are one of those people, then maybe your balance looks different and your balance wouldn't need to be, worrying so much about how am I going to get the sleep I need because you don't need that much. So I think you make a very important point is that you get to decide for yourself what works for you and what you're aiming for and what those goals are. Because, it doesn't just mean you have to have them balanced on a scale like this, right? That balance means something different to all people. So I think thank you, Melanie, for pointing up with that. Let's see. Okay. I want to talk about networking. So when we're building connections at work, networking can sound kind of intimidating to a lot of people. Sometimes it comes with a bit of more of like a formal connotation to it. Whereas if you ask me about networking, I'm going to tell you it's basically just making business friends. That's all it is. But I want to know from each of you, what has been the most effective networking method that you have found within your own communities? Alex, do you want to start us?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's wherever the food is, to be honest with you. But that's just me. You can add drinks to that list too. But but honestly for me, I really enjoy just the ad hoc conversations, just bumping into people, and that's why I really do enjoy the in-person aspect. A lot of it, a lot has changed since COVID, and coming from the healthcare space too, right? Been worked probably like 20-hour days and things like that there too, where it's intense to where you're not working at all in on site. And so I think there's opportunities where even for I would consider myself a little more extroverted. For those that are like my wife and more introverted as well, finding ways where if you would do want to avoid more of the social contact or you don't feel as comfortable, there are avenues like Expedia provides where you can have different forums or postings, or there's a book chat group, or if you're into different hobbies where you can find the forum and the place that fits for you and that is comfortable for you. And so I think through different various methods, we kind of get through that. And then if you have any like hobbies, which for me are non-existent right now with 2 kids, they are my hobby in my life. I think just with the limited amount of time too that every individual has and being respectful of it, just find out. I would ask colleagues and folks at Expedia Group, if you know any of them, if there's best avenues where you can get the best bang for your buck when interacting with people as well. So.
I like that. That's really good advice. Honestly, I'm the same way. If there's snacks, I'm much more likely to go somewhere. So I don't think you're alone in that one. But yeah, I think it is important to kind of take a look and see what the groups are kind of guided towards, if it sounds like something that interests you. We did have a question that came in the chat that I thought was also very interesting and not something I can answer because I am not an introvert. But do any of you identify as introverts? And if you do, how have you successfully utilized networking skills in, a setting that is most introverts' worst nightmare?
So I don't identify as an introvert. I'm more of like an ambivert. I like to say I'm an extroverted introvert.
I like
If that
that.
makes sense. So I guess I can kind of speak to this because this is something that was like super intimidating for me, and low key still kind of is.
Yeah.
But for me, it's really just finding like commonalities between you and that person and just really trying to speak to those things. It's funny, like I said, we're at Afrotech right now. So it's like a huge conference. You're able to network with a lot of people here. And I went to an event yesterday and I was just like standing there looking around because it was so many people and I was just like overwhelmed. And this girl came up to me and she was like, "Are you having fun?" And I was like, "Not really." And then she just started this whole conversation with me. And I'm like, wow, she is very good at networking because she came from seeing how like discouraged I was looking to now we're talking about job opportunities at Expedia that she would be great for. So it's like it can be something as simple as that. You can see someone with pink nails and you may like the color. Oh my goodness, I love the color of your nails. And then you can just transition into something like that. So
Yes.
you don't have to approach networking as in, oh, I have to come give my elevator pitch to everybody. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be as simple as just a regular conversation, and then it can transition into what you're truly trying to get out of the conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's one of the things I like to explain, or like I like people to talk about when we talk about networking, is that if you're just trying to make friends and follow the curiosity where it leads you, you're far more likely to gain and spread and increase your network while keeping it fun for yourself. Now, there are obviously times where you're like, okay, I want a promotion, or I want to get that job, or I want I want that bag by the end of the year. Then okay, fine. Then you're going to set yourself goals, and maybe there's a little bit more drive behind it. But it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be, approach the most important and scariest looking people you can find, and that's who you have to talk to first. No, 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 no. Talk to the people by the snack table. Okay, they're fed. They're probably going to be really nice. So think about it and try and think if there's ways to do this for yourself that are not quite, as miserable. But I do think it is really important, that we highlight there are different ways to do this. It doesn't just have to look one way, and it doesn't have to be scary. I also love y'all calling out that you can be learning from people while you're mentoring them. That is a huge call out, and I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily think of mentorship or of networking as a two-way street. Like it really is, right? Like you might be making friends with somebody who has the information that you want, but you might also be making friends with someone and you're going to be the expert they call in 3 years when they have a question about such and such that they know you were on the team for. So I love when it's not, when it's seen as more dynamic than just like, you know, kind of it's more of a give and take relationship, I think. Let's see here. Oh, okay. This is always my other question. Are there any networking options or avenues that you have tried that are just not for you? There's some for everybody. And I've been through a couple that have just been like, nope, not something I want to be involved in. But sometimes it just depends on, you know, kind of what you're looking for. So, all right, no worries. All right, let's talk about when we're trying to build authentic connections. All right, so Tashana touched on this when we were talking about, you know, kind of going up and starting conversations with people. But if you were trying to make sure that those connections are authentic, are there different ways that you're leading the conversation? Are you trying to keep it to a different subject? Melanie, how do you do this? If you are, if you're trying to make a connection with someone new and make it authentic, what do you recommend for people to do?
So here at Expedia Group, we do have a lot of intersectionality when it comes to things. So before you show up, you really do have to speak to yourself first and figure out what is important to you, what you're prioritizing at the moment. And from there, you can move forward. We were talking about our fun facts. And again, there was a time where I was really active in the EG sneakerheads community, where now, because of the networking that I've been doing with my global partnership chairs, I'm leaning more into my traveling mom side. So I am not going to come to Alex and start talking to him about something that was very important to me 2 years ago. I'm just going to tell him what's going on right now and hope that we can connect there. So that authenticity piece is extremely important.
All right. Good answer, Melanie. Thank you for that. Okay, this person had written in saying, for those who have been less active on professional networking platforms, what strategies would you recommend to regain credibility and visibility? I think this one's interesting. It kind of goes to the point of like creating your own brand a little bit as well. Tashana, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth with creating your own brand. Even though I work in the talent acquisition space, I am terrible on LinkedIn. I barely post things. I'm really much like I scroll, I look at other people's, I interact with other people, but I barely post anything myself. So I think people need to realize that you can use the platform for other things. You don't have to be like the person that is always posting, that is always active to be noticed. Just doing something as simple as interacting with other people on there, joining the groups in there, and building communities that way is really great. The way that I got my position at Expedia Group was through networking on social platforms. So I saw a position that I was interested in. I saw who the recruiter was. I reached out to the recruiter, and then I reached out to other people on the team that I saw were working at Expedia Group just to get coffee chats on the books, to really hear about how they felt about Expedia, how they felt about the team, to even see if it was something that was a fit for me. So don't feel like you have to go on there and just be active every single day and always be seen and just really be saying something without really saying anything. use,
Yeah.
use all the other advantages that the social platform has.
Yeah.
And I would like to give a huge shout out to the internal teams at Expedia Group. So our comms, our social media, and our leadership come together and let us use a platform called Amplify. So you don't have to start completely by yourself. They can give you a little framework to be able to schedule posts and find things again that are important to you. So if that's not your strong suit, then you can still use other tools to kind of help you grow that muscle. So don't feel like you have to come out the gate and just go for it. You can build that over time.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to know. Alex, do you want to weigh in here before we move on?
No, but not anything particular, but there's another Q&A chat. Vanessa was asking too, kind of related with this, is
Mhm.
does Expedia Group have programs or specific opportunities that for those that took a corporate career break? I know for like my wife, for example, when she decided to have our kids, she took a break to be a mother. And then for those that either have, other things that are going on with family members financially, or they have other responsibilities. I encourage I also want to learn, yeah, especially as a father too. I try to, my wife is currently going back into school right now. She's taking classes. She just got her medical assistant certification. She's trying to go be a doctor and trying to support her with that. And kind of reverse learning here. If anyone is going through similar experiences where they're supporting their spouse and transitioning, where you're kind of making more of the sacrifices, taking care of the kids, I would love more advices on that too. And if you have any, please put it in the chat. Sorry, I'm gonna reverse this a little bit.
No, I love this.
But
I
yeah.
absolutely love this. How old are your kids again?
My kids are 5 and 2. So my
Okay.
son's name is Jaden. He just started kindergarten, and then Claire, my wild daughter child, she's 2.5. She keeps me definitely on my toes. She's got me wrapped around like I'm like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
completely. So
They're good at that, aren't they?
any father-daughter advices too, I'll take that.
If she wants to play video games with you, give her a controller that doesn't have any batteries in it and let her think that she's playing.
Yeah, she's
And
too smart
my
for that already.
my
Yeah, but
friend's
I'm
little
already
boy,
lost.
I know. My friend's little boy is convinced that his iPad won't charge unless he runs in place to charge it up. So it helps
Yeah,
burn energy, especially right before bed. So that's a good option. But
awesome.
yeah, y'all
And
send in advice for Alex. Anything y'all
yeah,
have, because
and
I've
so
got
more a
nibbles
little
with her kids.
bit casual talk here too. I would encourage everyone to, I know it's hard, but it takes, I want to recognize it takes a lot of effort to open up about your personal life, and sometimes you're not comfortable. So I would definitely encourage, and especially having close friends that also have mental health wellness the challenges that they're going through. Folks that have colleagues in the veteran space where they have PTSD, please reach out to them, give them resources and help. And then also, talk about not just the work things, but just the kind of real everyday life to life daily things, because that somehow does bleed into your work and professional life as well, and it does affect how we show up to the workplace. And so I would encourage everyone to kind of empower each other, encourage each other, and be there for each other. And thanks for letting me have the opportunity to be a little bit vulnerable and ask for some help here as well. So thank you.
Absolutely, Alex. Thank you. All right, we have 7 minutes. I'm going to try and get to one more question, and then we'll need to go into our wrap up for today. But let's see here. Okay. Since we know we have a lot of people here with not transitional backgrounds, non-traditional backgrounds, how can individuals better showcase their transferable skills when they're seeking new roles, especially those transitioning from different sectors? Transferable skills is one of the biggest things we get asked about. So if you, let's see, Melanie, let's start with you actually. How did you showcase your skills that were transferable and show how they would be applicable to this new area that you were trying to pivot into?
Right. So again, I came from the hospitality background, right? But I definitely took being a military police officer, right? And I really actually connected the core values. So the personal courage was choosing fearlessly, the selfless service, including consciously. It was just me taking some of those day-to-day things that I was doing and then putting it in, again, a good storytelling and a narrative that would make sense to the hiring managers. So again, it's about building something that's honest. So that's going to be your integrity, that you'll see you have the skills. You just have to showcase which ones are going to be important for this role. So I always say lean into that first.
If I could add on to that, this is a question that I really like being able to answer because I've had to do this. When I was in the Navy, I was a gas turbine systems mechanic, so not HR. And even though I did get my degree in HR, like my job experience was hands-on mechanic engineering work. Something that I feel is so great about being in the military is that we do have those transferable skills. It doesn't matter what you did in the military. You could have been a medic, a mechanical engineer, made bombs, whatever. At the end of the day, we all have done some form of like personnel work. We've all been managers at some point. We've all had some type of teamwork. There are so many transferable skills that veterans have. And like Melody said, you just need to make sure that you're showcasing the right ones for the right opportunity. So the biggest thing is making sure that you're actually reading through the job descriptions that you're applying to and making sure that those skills that they're looking for are on your resume. You don't have to break down like what you did exactly. Oh, I put CO2 with H2O in and made a bomb, but now I'm looking to be a recruiter. Like that doesn't make any sense. But maybe I was a E5, I was a non-commissioned officer, and I had 5 direct reports. And through that time, I had to deal with doing time off requests. I had to deal with ADA requests. Anything that you know that you've done with your collateral duties or anything like that, put that in your resume. You don't have to put exactly what you feel that you did on your day-to-day. Put anything that you've done within your military career that can translate to that job that you're applying to.
Yeah. And just quickly here, I want to say for everyone, like don't sell yourself short. And I've been told this, and I'm a culprit of this. We as veterans and first responders, there's so much that we just take it like, isn't this normal? Isn't this the culture? Isn't this the value? Wait, doesn't everyone know this? But then you come out onto the civilian side and it's like, no, actually not, because there isn't like maybe leadership programs that guide you through your enlisted, junior enlisted, non-commissioned officer side of different programs or different methodologies. The civilian side doesn't encourage you necessarily all the time for all corporate organizations where, hey, you're a platoon leader, now you go be a staff officer, and oh, by the way, now you're doing this, and oh, here's a special assignment for you. Oh, by the way, you have an investigation to do on the side. So now you're getting into legal things, right? And so think about all the things that even the smallest things where it can be applicable. And for those that are EG too, and as we promote gig roles and other places where EG is a great place and a safe place where I can go talk about these things with my veterans and allies about, hey, how can I take my skill set and apply for marketing or finance or et cetera. And I really encourage everyone to try that tactic out about that Excel sheet that I talked about earlier to lay out your skill set and different experiences to get the stories that you need.
Okay. I love that. I love all of this advice. All right, y'all, we are almost at the end of time. So I want to take a minute here to say a massive thank you to the Expedia Group team. Kevin, as well as Tashana, Melanie, and Alex. I know that Michael was also part of the planning for this. Thank you all so much. Our partnership with Expedia Group goes back years. Y'all were one of my clients when I was part of the talent sourcing team. So I'm always really excited to get to talk to y'all, but thank you so much, not just for, spending your time with us today and sharing your expertise, but all of the prep work that goes into this. It's not a small amount, and Expedia Group always brings it hard. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And I hope that we get to do this again soon. All right, y'all. To all of our our audience members out there, I want to say a massive thank you to all of you. Obviously, I like that you come to these events because it means I have a job, but I appreciate it even more when you come to these events and you're so participatory. The chat was incredibly active today. I loved y'all throwing questions into the Q&A bucket on the fly. It was wonderful. And I really hope that y'all have enjoyed today's event. Now, like I said earlier, if you're curious about roles with Expedia Group, I very much recommend you check out their company page. I also recommend that if you're looking for a role, you should probably attend our virtual job fair. It's happening next week. If you register for the summit for November, it gets you a free, you're already registered for the virtual job fair, I think, automatically. And Expedia Group will be there along with a lot of other excellent companies. So I very much recommend you check that out. I'll be hosting too, so hopefully we'll see you then. All right, y'all, whether this was your first event with Power to Fly or your 50th, I sincerely hope it will not be your last. Go out there and have the day, week, weekend you deserve. And we will be back here whenever you decide to rejoin us. Bye, y'all.